Hello.
Hey there. Let's just wait a few minutes, huh? Who's there?
Yeah, I'll watch from board members.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to do some. I talked to Jerry. He said no, he hasn't done any of that. So I think you talk, I mean, short of reading that email, I think you just say what your thoughts were.
Yep.
We talk about the possible changes, talk about how to do it. Your hair looks cute.
Thank you.
Oh, and we're recording. I had two laptops before and I really liked it because I could have my video on one and work on the other. But
yeah, I have a separate
the one
monitor
died.
that I'm looking at.
I mean, that's the grown-up way to do it. I know.
Well,
why don't you change your name?
It's also the result of having an academic job from whom I could take the monitor when I had to come home. Should we let Jerry in?
Hang on one second because I'm writing him an email. Okay, yeah. This is going to be a bummer for me. Do you know who, all right, you want me to admit him?
Yeah,
Do you know who Annie Ruberti is?
No.
Yeah.
The truth is, for a board meeting, I could actually stand to have a third monitor. There's so much stuff to read.
And actually, this today for the first time, because of not having them, I printed stuff out again because I would need it. Hang on one second. I gotta find my agenda. Did you print the agenda? Can you bring it?
Hey ladies, are we on the same link at 6:32?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
So we'll just keep people in the waiting room until then.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good. I might disappear for a second so I can eat the rest of my dinner in the next 2 minutes.
Oh, do it. You've got 5.
Do it. You can do it.
Oh, yeah, I
You
can.
have only 5.
Hi, this is Jerry. Can you hear me?
We
Yes.
can't hear you.
I don't know where my camera is for some reason.
What are you on?
I'm on my laptop. For some reason, I'm not able to get my video working. Maybe I should restart it. Maybe I'll leave and restart. How's that?
We'll let you back in.
Okay, please do. Thanks.
Poor guy, he's having such a hard time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anna, it looks like you got some sun.
Oh, I love the sun and spend every minute that I can justify it out there. In fact, I have frequent meetings, Zoom meetings, sitting outside on my porch.
Good.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I'm on my porch, but I'm not quite in the sun. I should be.
There's not a lot of sun right now. It's pretty sort of clouded over.
Yeah, it totally is.
I'm sure. Hi, Kara. I just want to say hi because we're recording and she gets to hear all this pre-talk. She goes to do the minutes. But tell her some jokes or something.
You're right.
I wonder if there's anything we can do once, Jerry, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I just
I'm
can't.
gonna ask to start your video. See if you get a, any
Oh,
kind of
okay.
a message when this happens.
Okay. Start my video. Got it.
Hey!
Perfect. Thank you.
You just needed to be invited.
I just needed to feel wanted. That's all.
Yeah,
That's
there you
right.
go.
See?
You're always wanted.
Yeah, probably not in the way I would like to be wanted.
Wanted and needed. No, I think so, actually.
Needed for sure.
Okay, let's look at who else we're missing here. I'm letting
Klaus,
Kara
Mike.
in.
So I have to admit, I did not get a chance to focus on that draft local law that you had suggested. But I do have some questions I have to get through my head about that and look at some other, there must be some other municipalities who have drafted laws like that, about, the
Mm-hmm.
slurs and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because you walk a thin line between what's permitted speech,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's offensive, and what's
Yeah.
hate speech.
Mhm.
So you have to be although it is interesting that those kinds of words uttered against a male passerby under our code would not be illegal.
How about that? I
Yeah.
mean, I just thought if we changed all those to person and took out the female and male, we'd be partway there. Wonder
Yeah.
when that was written, Jerry. What would be your guess?
Well, I'll tell you, I was probably before 1975. That doesn't look like a law that was changed after the code was originally adopted. And those 75 restated a lot of the language that was in place for years before that.
For years. Yeah.
Yeah, this was adopted by the board on 11/10/1975.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
Don't say it, Anna. When were you born?
We both were.
Okay, should we let M. Dalton in?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay,
Oh,
and I
and
guess
there's Klaus.
you do see Klaus good.
Yep.
Okay, as soon as Mike and Klaus get settled in. No, Mike, you're muted.
Hey guys,
There you go.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Klaus.
howdy, howdy.
Okay, so we have everyone in. Just so you know, Mike and the rest of the board, Anna and I will be moderating. So we'll just hope for, and it looks like maybe Beth can't hear all of a sudden.
I can hear.
Best.
Okay, good. So we'll try to keep our eyes on everything the best we can, keep our eyes on the waiting room. So now can I just click admit all, do you think, Anna?
I would be fine with that if we're set. 6:16.
Everybody ready?
We'll
And they-
try to be reasonable.
In they come. It's not you we have to worry about, Klaus. It's whoever comes in later.
I'm joking. We'll behave. No, Toby?
I
Not
don't see
yet.
Toby so far.
No.
Hi, Sally. Jim. Okay, so Jay Murr, that's Jeff Murray, is that you? Jay Murr, 9708?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm just gonna change your name, Jeff. I mean, I'm not gonna change it to anything but your own name.
We'll be like the border guards changing people's names.
Right, coming into Ellis Island.
Hey,
There you go.
give them a good name.
And I'm sure that, Brian, you're Suna, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna change you to.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll keep an eye on things. Good. Okay.
Everyone from the waiting room is currently
And so Mike, I think anytime you're ready to go. Just once again, for people who just entered, typically we have moderators from the town, but we weren't able to work that out for this evening. So Anna and I will be moderating, and we'll hope to keep our eye on the ball.
I
We'll
just have a
try to.
quick question. It looks like Annie is still connecting. Can we proceed without her connected?
We have, and Cindy Brand too. Annie Roberti, can you hear us?
Okay. What do you think? Are we ready?
I think we are. Also looks like Cindy. Cindy, are you able to hear us? Well, I'd say let's get going and we'll see if they're able to get in.
Okay, well, we'll call this meeting to order. The Canton Village Board of Trustees. Again, unfortunately, we're meeting due to the extension of executive orders. I won't read every single one of them, but you should know that that's all legit. So right now, the first order of business is a public hearing, and that's why we began it, well, when we began. This public hearing is to take public comment on a change to Chapter 164 of the Canton Village Code titled Fire Prevention. Article 3 of said chapter is titled Burning of Leaves and Trash. It's comprised of specifically Section 164-5 open burning and 164-6 prohibited prohibition with commercial district. Said Article 3 and 164-5 and 164-6 therefore are hereby repealed. The new Article 3 is hereby added to Chapter 164 to be titled Burning Regulations. Said Article 3 shall include new 164-5 and 164-6. And there are almost 7 pages of document in change to Article 3. This local law change was requested by the chief of the fire department and worked on through the Emergency Services Committee with Beth Larrabee and Anna Sorensen, working with the chief and then with Jerry to put together the language of this law change. Those of you, I hope, have had a chance to read it. It's been published. Is there any public comment? Well, I don't see everybody jumping up to speak on this publicly. Is there any comment from the village board? I assume Beth and Anna, you're all good with this since you worked on it and it met with your approval.
Yeah, I think it's a really great option for us to allow, village members to, have, more of a sense of community outside around a fire that's a reasonable size. And we're excited that Chief Crow brought it to our attention and that we can, move forward with it.
Any other comment?
It seems like a reasonable change to make. I think it's good.
I think some of this has been going on. I've known it to be going on. And there's protections in here for neighbors. And, you know, the way it's worked in the past, you had to have a cooking fire, so it meant marshmallows or hot dogs or something. Now it can be done legitimately and with the proper controls. I'm assuming that this will pass later on in our meeting agenda, but you know, again, this is the time for the public to comment. I'm not so sure why we set aside 15 minutes for it, but but we did.
I can further state that we're really lucky to have Jerry. He's very thorough, and we had a couple versions of it, and it was reviewed by the fire chief and the rest of us too. So thank you, Jerry, for all your work.
Thank you for saying that.
The other option for public comment was via email addressed to me. I received none. Well, I guess we could sit here and look at each other for the next few minutes.
Everybody's out back at their fire pit celebrating.
Yeah, there you
Right.
go.
It's 6:24, Mayor. The way that you notice read is upon conclusion of the public hearing, you'd start your regular meeting. So I suppose if you want to conclude your public hearing, you could commence.
Well, I think that would probably be a good idea since there's no additional comment. We'll conclude the public hearing. And we'll move into our regular village board meeting. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of June 15th and 29th. I'd like a motion to do so.
Moved.
Klaus,
Second.
Beth is the second. All in favor, signify by
I
saying
have
aye.
one comment.
Yes.
I just want one place for clarification in the minutes. You're going to have to forgive me because I'm missing a screen here. But for our last, I think these were in the June meeting minutes under the Economic Development Director's report. It indicates, I just want clarification there where we talked about Lee talking about launching the loan program. And I think it's worth clarifying that that's the town's loan program that was launched then. It's their RBEG loan, COVID recovery. I know in Lee's reports, she's given us but I do think for the minutes, it probably should say that it's the town loan program. Sorry for not getting that changed to you sooner, Kara.
Okay. Any other discussion on the minutes? I have a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, we'll move on to department head reports. Let's see, on the top is animal control. Looks like there were several complaints, no dogs seized. Economic development is next. Lee. Hello, Lee.
I'm here trying to unmute.
That's that's okay.
I'm trying to toggle between my report and that. My report is pretty thorough. There isn't a whole lot new since then to report. We have had a couple of more loan applications since then. Still none back. Everything else is pretty up to date. Dairy Queen is well underway now. We've sent in a couple of reimbursement requests. We sent in several reimbursement requests for town grants, also for the Village's SAM grant for the clubhouse. Everybody knows we're in phase 4. New York City went to phase 4 today, although limited on certain things like indoor dining and malls. Just continuing to work on Brownfield project. I will say though, the Department of State was on hold for a while. They're now processing reimbursements and also will be moving the new grant forward that involves the Willow Island project. we have 5 years to complete that. So I just wanted to make you aware that that will be moving forward. We don't have a contract yet, but they're continuing to move things forward at this point. The start date was made May 1st of this year. So we could be working on that if we wanted to, but it's probably advised to wait until at least we have a signed contract to have any expenditures for it, just to be safe. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. As I mentioned in here, we did lose a few businesses, but I think we have a couple of new ones coming in as well. So downtown is coming back to life a little bit, and the town and the stores. So moving forward.
Okay. Thanks, Lee. I would mention that as things started to open back up, we had a discussion about, dining on the streets and sidewalks and maybe the use of the parking lots, but we didn't have a lot of takers from the local business on that. So I think they chose to make do with what they had inside. So we didn't have to ask for any changes or relief from the state liquor board.
No, the only thing we ended up doing is adding a few extra picnic benches with the help of the recreation department, and putting those into the park so more people could dine there or just enjoy the outdoors there. And I do see them being utilized quite frequently. So
good. The other thing on Lee's report talked about Maple Hill Water Project that is scheduled to start in September or in August. I think by August 10th was the date. So
by August 10th, and I think the completion date is by October 1st.
Yep. So that's a very positive thing.
Yes.
Anything else for Lee?
Just a big old thank you.
Okay.
Yep, good job. Good job, Lee.
Thank you.
Next on my list is the assessor's report. Cindy.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Hi.
Pretty in-depth report. Is there anything you would like to add or to what you've given us?
For the most part, no. I just finished the 2 classes that I needed for training. It was 12 credits. It was all on Zoom, and it's not the same being in a classroom setting as the teacher sits there and reads the information over the internet, and it was not fun. But I'm glad that's over. So I'm all set for next year for my credits, and then I'll have to go again in January. I'll have to apply for 12 more credits. So no, just been doing the data collection, got services with the county, and she's been coming with me, and that's been really helpful. And at this point, there were about 7 corrections to the final roll that there were exemptions that have to be removed from the final roll, and I have to give the property owners notice, and they get 10 days, and then we have to meet again. The bar has to meet again. So it's gonna be the first week in August for that. And otherwise, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Anything?
And I would like to echo what Mike said. I appreciate the thoroughness of your report, Cindy, and also just the sort of education you're providing us. I feel like I really understand a lot more what's involved with assessments and what you're doing as the assessor. So really, thank you for bringing us along.
Okay, you're welcome. I enjoy working here. Like I was telling Mary Ann, we were out doing the data collection, and we were finding things. We were jumping out of the car, and we're like, wait, I don't have that building, and I gotta, I gotta add it. And then the woman's coming out of the house with the map, and but I like it. I like the work, and I enjoy it. So
Great.
It's funny.
Well,
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else for Cindy? Okay, we'll move on. Looks like code enforcement, Jeff? You're back at it?
back at it. Busier than I thought we'd be. Things to the building trade seem to be picking up quite a bit.
Hey, Jeff,
Okay,
well, hold on a second here.
we're not hearing you.
I think he needs to get
Are
closer
you
to
hearing
his,
Can you hear me now?
not
you're
really.
breaking up a
Let me
lot,
stop
Jeff.
the video.
Yeah, that might work.
Can you hear me now, though?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a lot
better.
better.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Dairy Queen's progressing nicely. I don't know exactly when they figure they're going to be done, but the construction business is picking right up around town. Other than that, I'll take any questions if anybody's got any of me.
My question is not as much really for you, Jeff, but since you're here, Tim's report basically said that he's hasn't been able to work and has been doing research and stuff from home. Is he now back able to get into some buildings and do some of his work?
Yep. Tim just crafted a new letter to send out to the people explaining the way that we have to do these inspections by maintaining social distancing. If he's inspecting an apartment, it'd be nice if the people could make a time when just the landlord and Tim would be there and not the people. So he did a very nice job on this letter, and I think it's going to cover all the bases, but he is just barely getting started back up right now. And I think he's going to start pretty quick.
Good. Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Anything else for Jeff?
Nice to see Dairy Queen started going up.
I'm hearing a lot of comments about that.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Treasurer's report. How you doing, Sally?
Okay. With my report, I added a consultant agreement to allow Troy Banks, who is recommended by NICOM, to do an audit of our franchise fees. And we've had them do electrical audits before. So what they'll do is they'll look at our agreement with Time Warner or Spectrum, National Grid, St. Lawrence Gas, and they'll tell us if we've been underpaid or not. They, by contract, would get 20% of anything they find. If they don't find anything, then we don't pay anything. So we have nothing to lose. So I'm asking the board to approve moving on that.
We did this a number of years ago. I remember that. I'm not sure how long ago it was. But it's probably good governance to be checking on this once in a while. And Sally's recommending we take a look at this. So with your approval, I'd like to go forward with that.
I think that's a great idea. I remember that being one of the items of recommendation that they put forward at the, I don't know what that was called, the boot camp or whatever, that training that Carol and I attended in Albany. I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Sally.
Any other questions for Sally with her report? Yes, Anna.
Hi, Sally. I have a few questions. I'm just not understanding the math probably.
Okay.
So you put forward the property tax balance.
Yeah.
And on the trial balance report, it shows like, 1.8 plus. And not with a not collected of 208,000. So a net deposit of 1.6 plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I look at the budget, the amount in the property tax column is 1.4 something. And that 1.8 number is higher than the budgeted number. So I'm basically just confused.
That's all right. So what that 1.8 includes, Anna, is the tax warrant, which also includes the unpaid water and sewer that we sent to the county. So that's the difference in the number.
Okay. Well, that's helpful. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Sally, would you say that one more time?
Okay, so
I'm
if you
sorry.
look at the trial balance of
Mhm.
that I gave you for 2020. So
Right.
the warrant at 1.8 million, that number includes the unpaid water and sewer bills that we sent to the county.
Got it.
And then my next question is, I don't really know how to phrase this, but I guess, looking at budgets, usually you kind of know what your revenues are going to be and you know what your expenditures are going to be. And so the percent remaining in terms of the expenses can be fairly informative in terms of how you are doing. But in like a more complex budget like this, it makes sense. We don't know when all the money, the money doesn't come in quite the same ways.
Right.
So I guess my question for you, because I don't have this kind of institutional knowledge, my question for you is, when you look at those percentages in any of our categories, do you have any areas of concern in that income isn't coming in where, at the levels it should, or by this point, I mean, I know we're at the very beginning of the year, but.
Right. Yeah, we're basically only a month into the
Right.
budget. But I think I've expressed this concern before, and I think
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Did everybody else lose her too?
Yep.
Yep.
I wonder if she knows.
Possibly not.
In the
I'll text.
in the last couple of days, I've experienced people being kicked out and then all of a sudden coming back in. So,
Happened to me too this
Mhm.
week earlier.
yeah.
Someone told me it's the heat. I find that impossible to believe. I just have to say that just doesn't.
I don't know what it is, but it definitely has happened in several meetings that I've been in since probably Thursday or Friday of last week.
Mhm.
You watching?
Yes.
We can probably move on while we see if she comes back and we can go back to her. Yes, hold on.
There she is.
Oh.
Come on in.
I got kicked out. Sorry.
Not your fault.
It happens.
So, my concern that I'm watching closely is the golf course, because we didn't open on time. So, but that would have been mainly last year, April and May of last year. So that I will keep a really close eye on that number. And if there's anything that's out of the ordinary, I will be sure to let you know.
That was going to be my next question, so thank you.
We have been paying very close attention and will continue to do that. This is an extraordinarily different year and it requires our attention. So that's what we'll be doing. Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, one more. Am I correct, Sally, that the non-property tax distribution, that's our sales tax line, correct?
That's correct.
And do you have any any kind of projections or anything? I know that Legislator Lightfoot spoke at the town meeting and mentioned, kind of how it's going at the county level, but I don't know if you've received any information relevant to the village.
I haven't received that. The mayor, I'm sure, would tell me if he'd received anything. We haven't received anything from the county at this point.
And
Planning on the worst case scenario, but I believe that our budget and our financial situation at this point in time, we can handle whatever comes to us.
We're comfortable with the way the budget has been built.
excellent, thank you.
Okay, anything else for Sally?
Mike, I would just say, Kevin's not here for the golf report and maybe that's coming, but I think that the numbers that he was putting up for, beginning this year were surprisingly good. So I don't think we can make up for being closed those months, but, and I think there's going to be issues with tournaments, obviously. But his numbers were good for May and then June. Was it May and then
I think
June?
people were dying to get out.
Yep.
Yeah,
People
are
are
happy.
anxious for things to do, and I think that that's worked out well for us. And
I would agree.
therein lies the golf report.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, you did a good job. Thank you.
Anything else? Yeah, never mind. We'll do that under committee. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Police report was distributed. Jim's on vacation this week, and he will be back next Monday. We have a lot of things on the schedule for next Monday, starting next Monday. So it's going to be a busy week moving forward.
Can I go back to golf for a minute?
Sure.
To golf, I just want to say one thing, and I want to note Kevin's comment in his about how many kids are using the golf course and how much that has increased. And back to what Sally was saying, people wanting to get out and people wanting to be out. He's been working a long time and working hard on building that junior golf program. And I think that it has slowly and steadily climbed, but he's getting the fruits of his labor this year, I think. So I wanted to note that too. Sorry, I just hadn't looked at my notes.
So anything else, Carol?
No, that's all on that topic.
Okay, moving on. Linda, historian report. Got to unmute yourself. There
Here I
you
am.
go.
Yep. It's been busy with genealogy request, and what has happened, which is really nice, is Marianne has had Rachel come back on Fridays. So that is a huge help. Steven Sauter called me the other day, and he's not going to be allowed to come back by his parents. So I'm sending him things from home, and he doesn't stop. So that helps. And Rennis will not be coming back. She's 87, and not until things clear up. But I'm just moving along, and if you had any questions about my report, what was nice this week I started posting on the historian Facebook page, and the comments were really good. I think I told them I don't know where to begin since I've been off 3 months and scanning. I wanted to start with something that people might need to use to do their research. And I got a letter and a reply today from Dr. Payson's letters or articles for 3 years. And people are wanting the copies of some of the chapters. So that was really nice. I asked her if she was local and she said yes. So I'm trying to figure out, I'll get them copied because I can only have one person in my office at a time. And we're talking about putting a plexiglass between my desk and the table where people are working. And Frank White came up last week, 102. Came up not only once, he told me he had items for me in his car. I says, I'll get them. Nope, he goes down again. 4 times he came up all those stairs. And he brought me a marriage license, beautifully, flowers on it from 1841 of one of his family members.
Okay.
So I have a whole drawer devoted to Frank White. And we sat and talked about Pirates for an hour and a half. He's not telling me all the prohibition and other stories that went on in Pirates yet, but he said he will someday. But 102, up and down. So he is a gift to
Keeps him young.
Pardon?
It keeps him young.
I guess his secret is a little glass of bourbon every night. I don't like bourbon, so I won't help me. But it's because
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, he does every night. And those are the kind of people, Helen Kenyon, Ruthie Merrill, Rennis Biznett, who have helped me so much with my historian work in the last 4 years, especially. So if you don't have any questions of me, I'm finished and I'll just undo myself.
Anything else?
Thanks, Linda.
No, I do want to say about Cindy Brand. She and I worked together because a gentleman bought 2 houses on Maple, not Maple Street. What's the street after Hodgkins? And you're on that street. What's that street, everybody?
What?
The street up from Hodgkin.
Chapel?
Yes. The fellow bought 2 houses there. And he wants history. He did a lot of research himself. He lives on Goodrich Street. He's going to turn them into rentals. but Cindy will always provide me with the whole folder on the date the houses were built and that information. But he's very interested in the history of Canton, and I'm thinking about when we get more access to being visibly and manually working in a setting. He's been here for 2 years, and he wanted to know if there was a welcoming committee. So I've gone back in our files, and there were 2 different welcoming committees. And I probably could use the boardroom, not the boardroom, the courtroom. So I'm thinking about it, and we'll be talking. He would like to be on that welcoming committee. He has 4 children, 3 of his own and 1 he adopted. So this fella is really loving the North Country. He's from Canada, but married a Potsdam woman. So that's how they ended up back here. So it's been very active in my office, and it's really coming back, and I'm enjoying it more than ever. And the more I enjoy working with Cindy. We have a lot of laughs. So thank you, Cindy, and thank you all.
Linda, we've been talking about welcoming committees on and off for a long time. I mean, since I was in the Bamford Parents Organization, and for different reasons, they've not taken off and and I would be very much interested in being a part of that with you.
Good. That would be nice. I could meet in the boardroom, I would think. No, the courtroom. And that would be the
Yeah, it's a hard time right now to get the welcoming piece going, but we can start talking about it anyway.
I'm going to pull up all the information on the Northern New York newspapers on who started what. I think Marilyn Mittner was involved in one. So yeah, I'll look forward to that.
Great.
So thank you. And I'm done.
Well, Carol, that'll give you one more oar in the water.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you know me, I like to be the welcome wagon.
Okay, anything else for Linda? Thank you, Linda.
Okay, bye.
Next up, Rec. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, other than allergies and sinuses, but that's beside the point. Everything is good. Working on area beautification. Taylor Park has been open now for 2 weeks and no major incidents thus far. We did get some more sand down there. Thank you to Brian and DPW on that. That's all been taken care of, and I'm going to have them, the staff is going to work on cleaning that sand up every week. We borrow the golf course's bunker rake, and we'll be bringing it down there once a week to clean the sand up and make it look a little bit better. I don't know if we can do anything about it, but we need some rain. So, yeah.
Really?
Do a rain dance.
I've done it. Didn't work. It's not a pretty sight. But other than that, everything is good. Working on some plans for various locations throughout the village, and maybe some things to propose here soon, I'm hoping, and working on the reopening plan for the rink. Yeah, and that's it.
Okay, anything else for Jim?
I guess I'm going to just ask the question, Jim. I hate to ask it, but I am. The outdoor rink, any progress on that? Any thoughts on finding time to make progress on that?
Well, we're kind of in a stop movement on that right now. Mike and I had spoken to a community member last week who had some concerns about it and wanted us to take a look at the possible future on it. So I spoke to that person. He wants to come down and take a real hard look at it within the next couple of weeks, and then hopefully we'll be able to progress in one direction or the other after that.
Thank you.
I just want to say I've gotten huge compliments that Taylor Park is open. So thank you for helping to make that happen. I think people are really excited to be able to access the water, especially since it's been so brutally hot. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Yeah, I've heard that feedback as well. People are really happy to be using the park. And I'm glad to hear there are no major incidents and that that's going well.
Okay.
I probably will pick a day next week that I'm going to possibly open a little late, but I will put that and communicate that. I want to do a surprise inspection. I guess it's not a surprise anymore, but a surprise training opportunity with the lifeguards out there. Just they're not anticipating it.
No, that's really good.
Anyway,
Okay, thanks, Jim. Last but not least, Brian.
Hello.
Hi. We have your report. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, update us on?
No, you've got a couple of items on the agenda that I may comment at an appropriate time, but otherwise, as you know, it's getting towards the end. Doing the best we can, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Brian?
I have some very happy neighbors on Haley Drive, and a particular 5-year-old child who is loving the smooth ride on his bike. So thanks for that.
Good.
Yep. Pleasant Street looks real good too.
Good.
Thank you.
Carol, you usually have something to ask. You got
Oh, I do,
Yeah.
of course.
You have something to add to the conversation?
You bet I do. Brian, 14 years. Sally has your start date recorded as July 17th, 2006, almost exactly 14 years ago. What a lot has happened since that time, and what a mark you have made on Canton. Looking back on the countless village projects you have overseen, buildings, roads, sidewalks, water and sewer, parks and trees, fountains, it's impossible to measure the impact you've had. Bringing solar power to Canton and managing the reconstruction of Main Street over 2 seasons are among the improvements that will be felt for many years. And it's hard to estimate the number of village residents you have helped, state agencies you have worked with, contractors you have engaged, equipment you have purchased, mountains of snow and truckloads of brush you have removed, pump stations you have cleaned, budgets you have prepared, meetings you have sat through, committees you have helped, trustees and mayors you have abided, and municipal staff you've worked with. We all know that helping the garden club with their flowers each year was a favorite assignment of yours, thanks to the cookies you got in appreciation. It hasn't always been easy, and some of those interactions weren't exactly pleasant. But through it all, you demonstrated steady professionalism, patience, and good humor. You have earned the respect and gratitude of this board, your village colleagues, and the residents of Canton. Thank you for your time, energy, and commitment to our village. Enjoy the lazier days of retirement and all the new projects that lie ahead. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Carol. And Brian, that messages from all of us.
Yep.
Oh, we can see you. I love it. Congratulations.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
Oh, I love it.
You're still muted up there. Well, thank you, Brian.
That's a day clock. It was a gift from my son.
Uh-huh.
Right after his wedding, and his father-in-law said, "You'll find that helpful." He says, "I'm pretty good with the seasons, but I don't do work days." So anyway, again, thank you, Carol, and thank all of you. A lot of good people have been around me over the years, so time to move on.
Yep.
Thank you. I wish we could have done that in person.
Yeah, we sure do.
There'll be another day, but thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
We appreciate your
Thanks,
hard work.
Brian.
Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, I need a motion to accept the department head reports.
So moved.
So moved.
That'd be Anna and Carol. All in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Bye.
Any opposed? Very good. Next up are committee reports. What do we have for committees to report? Don't jump all at once.
I can start with communications and technology.
Have at it, Anna.
All right. So as I think we've mentioned a couple of times, the Communications and Technology Committee developed a memo for department heads outlining some questions that we as trustees and our colleagues on the town board, questions that we are looking for answers for in department head reports. So we completed that, integrated feedback, and have now forwarded that to you, Mayor, and the supervisor. So that is done. And then the other thing, we are meeting with the clerks, I think this week.
Yes.
At some point soon, to talk about future coordination of Zoom. And that's kind of what I have for communication technology.
The only other thing there is that we, after the joint meeting last time where there was a number of comments and concerns raised about broadband and connectivity, we're also reaching out and maybe that was economic development as much, both, sorry about that. But sort of trying to gather information and mobilize efforts to get our county and area legislators, find out what they're doing, find out what's going on, and try to mobilize efforts to enhance connectivity up here. Sorry, I keep thinking that's communication and technology.
I know when you start doing the training on Zoom, I would like to learn a little bit more about setting it up myself. There are occasions when I think it would work well for me. And I think Mary Ann is interested also. I don't want to speak for her, but I think she is.
Yeah, that can work just fine, Mike. When we got the enhanced package that allows us to record and transcribe and everything, that gives us 10 users. And the clerk will be a user, but you could be your own user. That way, for one thing, you don't have to worry about setting up meetings at times that other people are setting up meetings. That can happen simultaneously. So Anna or I or Sally or Kara, once we work with them, I'm sure would be happy to show you.
Okay, thank you.
And get you set up.
What else do we have for committee reports?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Klaus.
I'll give a short report on Complete Streets. The work on the Remington Trail signage is coming along real well. The entrance signs are up and we're working on the mileage markers. And also Complete Streets is working with the county chamber to come up with a improved trail application for phones so that visitors to town or hikers or bicyclists can have a better app to see where all the Canton trails are and what's on the trails, and just sort of a plus for visitors to town and hikers and bikers. So we're working on that with the chamber.
Great.
That's great.
And the charger is all set on our end. Everything is complete. We're just waiting for Apex to get it going, and then I'll apply for the rebate so that we'll get a rebate on the power from National Grid. So that's all set.
The signs look great. Please thank Toby too, because I know that he has been. Oh, he's on. He's been.
Yep, he's been working hard on it.
Yep. Significant. Yep. So thanks, Toby.
And I see them being used fairly frequently when I drive by. I mean, I guess I don't drive around very often these days, but I do see them in use. So that's great.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, a couple things that I'll add. The only thing for economic development besides broadband to add is that there have been changes over the years to the Economic Development Steering Committee, which is the representative group of the Economic Development Consortium. And with Jenny on board to work with Lee and support her, we have brought back the management the administration and planning of the Economic Development Steering Committee back to Lee's office, which we think is going to work a lot better and be a lot more effective and efficient. And I particularly appreciate both Lee and Jenny being willing to take that on and sort of corral that and keep it going. Also, Beth and I, the golf thing's got a slow start. The concession is open now, and Beth and I will be meeting with the golf team in the near future just to sort of because we really haven't done that because it was such a slow start. Get in and talk to them about how things are going and how we might better support them. And I would just like to add that the Sustainability Committee has not been meeting, and I think that's just because all of the volunteers who are on that have been overwhelmed in their other professional positions by all that's been going on, pandemic related, but the pandemic certainly points to issues of sustainability that we need to be paying attention to and addressing and moving forward. So I think we will need to be sure that as the school year begins, however it begins, a lot of our members of that committee are connected with the universities, that we can get that up and going again and get people's heads back together again. So that's all I got, Mike.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else we're missing or? Okay. Moving on to communications and information, I have none.
Just to quickly add.
Who's that? Okay. Moving on to old business. First item was EV charger update, but I think Klaus handled that already. We wanted to touch on the Minor Street project. I don't know if there's anything more to update on that. Brian, I know that they're working up there now. You want to add anything on that, Brian?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say that we're progressing. You know, we were able to start last Tuesday. We concentrated on getting the other 4 streets done so that we could focus on one area because it's a lot more involved than Minor Street. But it's moving along really well. The hope is to have it at least to a point where it becomes just a traditional street project before I leave. So they're good progress. I'm very proud of their performance, and they're doing a good job. So in a couple weeks, it won't be done, but it'll be we'll be on our way home with it.
Okay. Any questions for Brian about that? Been quite a bit of work that's gone into that to get ready for it. So. Okay, thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda, I circulated a letter from the superintendent of schools. As you know, they have backed out of our contract. And in the process, they sent us an amendment that they'd like to see us approve the contract that allows them out of it for the next year. It was a 3-year contract we had with them with no really way of getting out of it. They decided that because of budget concerns and really what they think is going to happen from the state, that was going to be one of the first positions cut. So you have a copy of the letter and the amendment to the contract. I've circulated that to Jerry also and had a bit of a conversation with him about it. They're not going to pay it. They're not going to pay it. We're not going to put somebody up there. So, whether we sign it or not, I guess it'll be up to you as the board to decide whether we want to do it, let them out of it officially.
I think it's a shame. I think in this time, these recent conversations about defunding police and reimagining police, I think that the position up at that school is a perfect example of exactly how we would like to see law enforcement working with, cooperating with our community at lots of levels in lots of ways. To me, it was a perfect example of that really working. That said, I deeply appreciate the financial strain. I mean, what word do you even use that the schools are under? I think it's just unthinkable how to decide what you cut and where you cut. I don't know how to begin to do that. I'm not sure this would have been my choice. But I feel like we need to be good partners with them. We need to continue to work with them during the school and all of our partners and our friends at the school. So my preference would be to formally, officially say we're really disappointed, but sign it and let them off.
Okay, thanks, Carol. Any other thoughts on this from the board?
I echo what Carol says for sure. I think that it could be a pivotal position to move forward with some of the conversations that we're having with the governor's executive order. But that said, I highly respect Ron Burke, and I know that they didn't make this decision lightly. And again, respect the budgetary constraints. I'm sad about it, but I too think that we should be good partners and recognize that that they're in a bind.
Okay, Anna?
I feel similarly. I support signing this.
Yeah, same here.
Well, I see that as approval for me to go and make the change to the contract.
I would just add, Mike, that I see that Eileen Raymond is here and she is a member of the school board. So Eileen, you can pass along, I think, to the school board that we're disappointed. We're sorry that was the decision, but we appreciate the pressures and hope that we can turn this around someday and someday soon.
Eileen, did you want to have something to say? But okay, you're muted, but your picture came up, so. Well, I am disappointed. Ron and I have talked several times. I thought it was a perfect example of community policing and a way to make connections with people. You know, there was some support on the board, and then there were some people that wanted that to go quickly. So that being said, we'll move forward. I'll sign the contract, the amendment to the contract, and that'll put an end to it. You know, who knows what the future will bring. You know,
yeah.
we're in a position where we'll adapt to this change, and by the end of the year, you know, we won't be hiring a new officer. So,
Mike, given your conversations with the superintendent, is there any room for us to, when it's COVID safe, if I may, to have to do some programming with the Canton PD, so there is a little bit of that, you know, community-minded, you know, education for our youth?
well, you know, it'll be part of the conversation. That's all I can say.
Okay.
So, other than that, you know, we'll have to see how things develop, because
okay,
we had a person specifically designated for that, and then you know, we won't be hiring to replace an officer, so that's retiring. So we'll go back to a staffing level.
For sure, for sure. Thinking that, yeah, but where we can, if we can supplement somehow and continue some of the work that you know was accomplished by that position, I would fully support that and welcome those kinds of conversations to happen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see where we are here. Next item on the agenda is to discuss and possibly approve a leasing program for vehicles. All of you participated in a presentation from Enterprise Fleet Management that talked about how we can save some money over the course of the next 10 years. You know, we're looking at an estimated savings of about well, it's a little over $180,000 for the 10 years. It's a way that we can keep our fleet up to date, more current, less expense on repairs as a result, and you know the latest technology and the more improvements in gas mileage that would come with that technology. It also frees up cash for us, so that it helps with our cash flow. And as we discussed in the past, the New York State Financial Restructuring Board often recommends this type of approach when they're looking to restructure financing in different municipalities and governments. So I put it on the agenda today after you've had a chance to think about it a little bit. Sally and I have worked on this now for several months as we looked at ways to make sure our financial position is good. And this is one of our recommendations that we move forward on. And there's right now there's a couple of vehicles in the queue on our replacement plan that we would be able to take advantage of this right away. So, thoughts, concerns?
I would just say that I support it, that I appreciated the opportunity to attend the presentation, that I think that anything that we can do that is proactive and, really fiscally thoughtful is good. And that this is one of those items. And also I just think, in terms of, all the reasons that you laid out, Mike, but in terms of keeping the fleet up to date and having the latest technology and being more efficient, that just seems like a more sustainable way to go. So I support that and thank you for pursuing that.
I know Klaus has always been looking at options for vehicles and how to improve efficiency in vehicles. And I think he got his questions answered also when he asked at the presentation. You're muted, Klaus. Klaus, you're muted.
I think it's a win-win. I think it'll save the village some money. I think it's a good move for the future.
Okay.
And I'll just acknowledge for the record, I wasn't at the presentation, but I was able to talk to the mayor about specifics, and I feel comfortable and confident. And yep, saving money and having a little bit more flexible cash flow is always a good thing.
Thank you. Anything, Carol?
Nope, nothing more.
Okay, with your permission, we'll move forward with this.
Yep.
Okay. I know Jerry will be involved. He loves looking at contracts, so. he's just smiling.
I haven't seen any of the schedules. Maybe were those presented at the presentation?
There were some schedules. Yes, I can get those to you. Sally and I will work with you.
Yeah.
We got PowerPoints for you, Jerry. We got schedules, got so much.
Okay. Well, there are reference to schedules all the way through the documents, so it would be helpful to have those.
We can give you a schedule, yes.
Okay. I don't know Missouri law, however.
You get a
paragraph 17.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
Here we go. Yeah, okay.
Well, I think it was because Jimmy or whatever his name was calling us from Missouri at the time.
We need a motion.
Yeah, let's do a motion to approve moving forward with this.
So moved.
Second.
Beth, Carol, first, Beth, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody said aye. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the burning law. Is there anything to discuss about this law as it's written?
I'm just really excited to, give community members the option to actually do this. I think that it's a welcomed item, an element to our community, and I think a lot of people will take advantage of it. So I appreciate it that the work has been done on it.
I agree. I think, it's always better to lay out the parameters for people for how to safely do something. And I think this does that. And especially right now where we are, isolated and, in our small groups, our pods or whatnot, this is an activity that people can do together. So, yes.
And it encourages people to be outside. So that's good too.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I'll
Klaus?
second it.
Okay. And this is a roll call vote, so all in favor? Anna?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Klaus?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Mhm.
The motion carries and the law will be
Woohoo.
done.
That's great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for the work you and Beth and Anna did. I'm sure the chief will be happy to hear about this too. Okay, moving on. Authorized payment and transfer voucher, payment of vouchers and transfer of funds. Need a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Anna, Beth, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's nice. Okay, the next item was an update on periodic meetings that we've been having with the universities and law enforcement. Carol can jump in here at any point. She's been attending these with me. We've started out in the days of COVID, which still exist, we started having conversations with the university, St. Lawrence University and SUNY Canton. And then it quickly evolved into discussions with law enforcement because of the things that have been going on nationwide. And so this has been a periodic meetings that we have that talk about return to campus plans for a whole range of things from COVID and how they're bringing the students back to law enforcement and expectations for law enforcement and municipal leaders, and how we can improve conversations amongst all of us. And the last meeting we had, we updated each other on what we're doing for training in terms of de-escalation and updates on fair and impartial policing and things of that nature, how we can communicate better with our university community and how we can communicate to our full-time residents on those relationships. This is going to be a very interesting time when all the students come back, and we're working hard on how we can work together for promote the safety of all of our citizens and students. So these conversations extended then on to include Clarkson and SUNY Potsdam. And we're just really beginning. There will be some communications that go out to the students. They're coming back. There'll be some messaging out to our community and communities on what to expect and the things that we're doing to foster the right type of relationship between all of us. And I think, I'm hoping that this will end up in a positive way. And this isn't just a conversation that's been going on between St. Lawrence Security, SUNY Canton PD, and our PD. It also has included the sheriff and the state police. So there's been all levels of law enforcement involved in this, and a large section of our community, both here and in Potsdam. And this is expected to continue. It's expected to continue on through the beginning of school, well into September, with some ways that we can have direct communications with our with the students and foster a good relationship. There's been discussions about things like body cameras, all of the things that are going on with the governor's executive order and how we will address those type of issues. And I should tell you about the executive order. We had been hoping for some guidance to come forth here. Maybe it was hopeful that it would be quick. That has not happened. A couple of departments have moved forward to a degree, without the guidance from the state. And if that guidance hasn't come along this week. It's our plan, the chief and I, to move forward with our Emergency Services Committee to start the process, do some brainstorming, get some ideas on paper on how we're going to move forward. I've talked both with Anna and Beth, and they are both excited to be part of the process. So we're just about done waiting for the governor's direction. It's supposed to go with this executive order. So we're going to start moving forward. If it comes out sometime down the road, then we'll adapt to the guidance that's provided to us. I don't know if that sums up just about where we're at and what we've been doing, Carol. You've attended most of those meetings.
Yeah, I think you did a great job of summarizing. I think what I would not add, but really just emphasize, to me, it's been very exciting and pretty powerful to see Canton and Potsdam, all of the people that Mike named, the municipal leaders from both Canton and Potsdam, the university leaders from all 4 schools, the law enforcement and security from at every level, the chief diversity personnel from all of the schools, and then at this last stage, the communications people coming in. And it's, President Safran said last time, you know, the universities, we've been working together for years, but it's never been anything quite like this. And I do believe it is. What I see is a quite remarkable spirit of cooperation. I think everybody wants everyone to come back, feel welcome, feel safe, feel supported. I think communications are going to be essential. I think we need to express to our residents that we've been having these conversations and we've been assured by both the universities and by law enforcement that people will be safe. I think one of the things that came out of the conversation this past week that I felt was really important is it's a two-way street. The expectations have to be clear of all. Students can understand and they can say what their expectations are of law enforcement, as can residents. But we need to also be clear we as residents of these communities need to be clear with the universities and with the students what the expectations are of them. So if people can continue to be in really good cooperative, collaborative, collegial conversation the way they have been up till now, to me this is a silver lining of a pretty dark cloud for our communities. It's an example of real, I don't know, community spirit. It's been, I will say, sort of an honor to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Carol. Any questions? That pretty much covers it. And as we continue to move forward, we'll update you on what's going on. There will be some communications from the university in conjunction with the mayor, the supervisor, the mayors and supervisors that will go community and to both communities. Let's put it that way: the college community and to the regular full-time community here in the village. So more to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And next week we will go ahead, Klaus.
Thanks you guys for working on this. It's good to hear this is going on and sounds real positive.
Well, it's been pretty intense, and I will tell you, everyone has been quite honest and upfront in their comments and concerns. Mm-hmm. And it's been a really good dialogue. So you can't get much better than that right now. So,
yep.
Anybody else have something for me? Yes, Anna.
Yeah, can I just add, I'm really glad that these conversations are happening, and thank you for sharing them. Just to add that, Beth and I, as members of the Public Safety Committee, we met with you, Mayor, and the Chief, I don't know, was it a couple of weeks ago? And I think we anticipate many more meetings this week and beyond as we do this work. And so I wanted to acknowledge that and share that we are excited to have this community dialogue that we have been contacted and been being contacted by residents of the community who are interested, and we have been collecting information. Of course, everything will be made public, but you know, we will reach out to people who contact us. So I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Okay, thank you.
And I just have, I echo all of that. I'm really excited about these conversations too. And I would like to take just a second to acknowledge that that this is a really, it's a great platform to have these conversations and to see the spectrum from all sides. I would like to just denounce what happened to law enforcement yesterday with 4 communities and 5 agencies targeted, you know, by, you know, really dehumanizing and derogatory substance, which could have been, if absorbed through the skin, by law enforcement officers. And I, you know, I just want the law enforcement officers for Canton PD and
You're
local
breaking
regional
up,
guards
Beth.
that they are supported. Sorry. Yeah.
You should, I think you should, if you can turn your camera off and start again, because what you said at the beginning got a little bit garbled, and I think it's a really important message.
Okay. Can you hear me?
You were breaking up.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to take my video off? Would that be easier or not?
If it works, if it keeps working, watch
Okay,
us
just
and
let me
we'll
know.
wave if it stops
Okay.
working.
All right. I just wanted to, I just want to publicly support the law enforcement agencies that were attacked yesterday with really derogatory messaging.
It keeps breaking up.
Intimidating, you know, messaging. Okay, I'm going to try now. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Try it.
We're going to try this again. Third time might be a charm. I think it's really important to recognize the fact that our law enforcement, there were hard, want them to know that they're supported and what, you know, what acceptable. Okay. I don't know what to do if I keep breaking up.
Yeah.
So
I think we know what your message is.
I think it's just really important for our law enforcement to know that we are behind them and that we are at a moment where we can, these conversations can help everybody in our community understand all sides of the issues. And that's really important. And we need to continue to denounce intimidating, threatening any individual. And I just wanted to publicly, it's an important time to recognize that law enforcement is supported. Did you get that?
Beth, I would like to suggest if you have something in writing, if you would share that with us on the board. Because I would appreciate, I think we got the gist of what you're saying, but I think you put together some good thoughts, and if you could share that with us, that would be great.
Sure, I can do that. Would you like me?
Just email it.
Just
Okay. Email it.
Breaking up. Okay.
I think that, oh, maybe if she, you know, writes out the text of what she was saying, could that be part of the meeting minutes?
Sure.
We'll have it added to the meeting minutes. Okay. Thanks, Beth. Okay, next item on our agenda, there was a request to look at Village Code 233-2 and 233-3. I think Anna and Carol may have chimed in on that. Jerry, you probably haven't been able to do much with that yet.
Not yet, not yet.
That section, I believe, deals with harassment and derogatory type of comments made for any number of reasons. And I think that among different sections of our code, there's probably need for update. That being said, I think we do need to be careful on some of it, and I would expect that Jerry's guidance would help us through that. Does that sum up what you're looking for, Anna, or what you brought up?
Yes, I'm mostly. Basically, one of the things that research tells us that people of color, one of the things that people of color most often experience in terms of racism is, racial slurs being hurled at them from car windows or in public spaces. The same goes for, the homophobic comments and slurs that people who are LGBTQ experience in public spaces. And we have this section of code in our code that makes essentially sexual harassment against, prohibited, as well as some language around profane language, however we define that. And it just occurred to me that one thing that we could do that would make a really clear statement as to what our community's expectations are would be to revise that to include specifically racial epithets and homophobic slurs. And so that's what I brought forward. And I understand, there's difficult lines to walk in terms of, free speech and so forth. But I do think that there is some room there to lay out what our expectations of one another are and what is acceptable. And if we want to have a welcoming community, this could be one thing that we would do to demonstrate that. So that's what I was looking for.
Okay, and you're going to work with Jerry to further that. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be in touch with you, Anna and Carol. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
The last item on our agenda is D. If you notice, there was only one word there. It says discuss.
Yes.
Well, I got something to discuss. I'm not sure how that happened. I forward an agenda on to Sally, and Sally sifts through it and makes sure it looks okay. And somewhere along the line, the whole thing got pushed through. So we both take responsibility for that. At the same time, I received a call from our state senator's office in regards to some work we've been doing to try to get a speed limit lowered in a section of road. I forwarded all that information on to you. What I do need to do today is get a home rule request passed by this board, and those resolution and home rule requests have to be forwarded on to the both the Assembly and the Senate, and they're supposed to be picked up tomorrow morning if we approve this. So I have a little bit of work to do ahead of me. They need like 4 copies of everything for each chamber, so that'll be like 8 copies that have to be certified. So most of you are aware that we've been working on this, and we've had multiple meetings, both the supervisor and I, with DOT, the hospital, and other interested parties. And right now that this appears to be the direction that our representatives want us to go. So this is where we're at. You have all the materials in front of you, or they were all sent to you at some point today. So I would need a motion to pass the resolution that Jerry quickly wrote up for me. Thank you.
So moved. I would just say I really appreciate the fact that Senator Ritchie and Assemblyman Walsick have thought, worked with us on this. it doesn't seem like lowering the speed limit to protect the safety of a lot of people should be quite so difficult. But I appreciate the fact that they have helped us figure out how to do this, and it sounds like we could put it right through. So I heartily make the motion or something like that.
Thank you. And I think Beth, you were seconding
Second.
that?
Yep.
If there's any further discussion, if not, I need all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that was supposed to be a roll call vote, and I see everyone voted in the affirmative.
Yes.
Okay, I have one more thing just to say, and I didn't work this in at the beginning of the meeting. But Jerry, you know, our sympathies were with you and the loss of your father. You know, sooner or later we all get to go through this, and I've gone through it recently with my mother, and you know, our hearts went out to you and what you had to deal with over this past week.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate everything you do for us, and when times are tough like this, you know, we like to know we're all standing together here.
Yeah, no, I felt that. Thank you.
Okay.
Mike,
Yes.
Eileen was just asking for clarification about the speed limit change and where that was happening. Do you want to just quickly review that for her?
We're interested in the speed limit change from the end of the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit currently out further, so that they slow them down around St. Lawrence Health Systems.
On East Main Street, this is, Eileen. So going out of town, and so that people are slowing down as they come up to that tough turn into the hospital's new building.
So would it move it further, the change from 40 to 30 or the change from 55 to 40?
55 to 40.
If I could put on my East Main Street hat, one of the problems we have on East Main Street is, number one, the speed limit happens right at the edge of the village, change to 30, but the warning sign that it's dropping is 10 feet from where the speed limit sign is. So the trucks come roaring by this house, hitting their Jake brakes, and they can use the excuse that they didn't have time to stop because the warning sign was, I'd love to see the 30 pushed out further, but I would at least, you know, we need some help here.
We've been trying to get that help, and you know, this is right now, this is the direction we've been asked to go by our representatives. We have been working on this for quite some time. We had them slowed down in your section at one time, and it got bumped back up.
Not since
We
I've
had
been here, but
had no control over it at that point.
it's a sign moving as much as anything
So that,
else.
well, you know, we can talk to them about moving a sign.
So that's an interesting thing, because that's not
Very short. It's a very short, and it's mostly hidden. Both of the signs are mostly hidden, and it's a very short distance between the two of them, much shorter than any place else I've seen where they're doing the drop down sign.
Thank you. That would be certainly worth looking at. Thanks, Eileen.
Okay, next item is public comment. Is there any public comment? Toby, yes, Toby.
In the spirit of internet not quite working correctly, the question about lowering speed limits affects the Complete Streets Task Force, because we are facing some requests from citizens in that regard. And as part of our mission with safety and education, could you give me a little more of what you're asking to change here in terms of process? Because as we understand it, going through a request for speed limit change involves this lengthy process of going through the county, of going to the DOT, of going to a study, and then the DOT goes back to the county and so forth. So the moment of filling in and also notifying you that we have requests to the Complete Streets Task Force, In regard to other speed limit changes, they happen to be in the town, however.
I think that the process in the town is different than the process in the village. And I think that that's the difference. You know, I would be happy to share the documents that were produced or being produced. How that could affect other areas, I can't tell you. I know this is a specifically targeted area.
But is this not a, you're asking for, or this change is in the town, not the village?
Change village street, village property in the village runs all the way along the length of this.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other comment, public comment? Okay, there being none, I need a motion to go into executive session for purposes of employment. It's item F on our resolution authorizing the holding of an executive session. I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, thank you for those of you that attended. The board needs to stay and Sally gets to stay.
Thank you
I'm
all for
going
being
to-
here. Kara, nice to
Thank
see you.
you.
I'm going to change location.
Okay.
Hi, Kara.
Thank you, Brian. I'm glad you stayed the whole meeting.
Okay.
You know, I did have
Resume.
I had one little thing to add. I don't know that we would care enough, but I happened to, by coincidence, hop on the Potsdam Village board meeting today that was on Facebook Live and saw some of the good, the bad, and the ugly of mixing Zoom and Facebook Live. But I noticed an interesting thing, and I don't know if this would help us or is it all helpful. When there was a motion called, somebody would motion, somebody would second it, and then they obviously have an order that they vote in. And so they just went around like I. So that it was sort of an automatic roll call. And I think especially when you're in Zoom and you can't necessarily see and hear, and we just sort of assume that you hear a chorus of ayes and they're all ayes and you say no. And maybe that's enough.
Well,
But I sort of, like, I knew who they were. So I sort of liked hearing the aye.
Did they say their last name?
No, they just said aye.
Just
I mean,
okay.
they're there. And I
Right.
think they just figured they knew who they were. I don't know.
That's why I, say the name of who made the motion and seconded the motion. And then I make it a point to, it's motion carried, and
Yeah.
ask for any no's. So,
Right. So maybe that's enough. I just thought I would share that.
okay, we are back in regular session,
We are.
being recorded, so.
Yeah.
So
That's all.
I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That was Anna.
Second.
Second by Beth. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion.
No.
Okay.
Good night,
Good night,
y'all.
all.
Oh,
Thank you.
Night,
Thank you all.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
good night.
It is 8:06.
I didn't put sign and leave. Damn it.